Good morning, Sync Academy members. Hope I've caught a couple of you guys. I know it's not too early. I mean, 8 a.m. That's not too early, right? I think we can all do that. Some of you, I'm sure, maybe you're going to be at work, so you'll catch this afterwards, maybe on your break or afterwards. But I just wanted to check in with you guys about our awesome Sync 60 challenge, which we did a few months back. I think we started it. Let's see. We did March and April, and then we ended May 1st. So we basically completed about a month and a half ago. And I put out a poll on the platform just a couple of days ago, just asking you guys, how are you doing if you participated in Sync 60 and felt like that really helped boost up your productivity? How are you doing now? Now that we're 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out from that ending, are you taking the sort of lessons and the strategies essentially that you picked up during that challenge and carrying them forward with you? Because that was the big one of the biggest points of that Sync 60 challenge, is not just to have you guys be really productive for those 60 days, but to then start to build in these kind of really effective, productive work habits, basically, to minimize distractions and make music more consistently after the Sync 60 challenge has ended. And from the comments I got and from the responses that I got, it sounds like most of you are doing better, for sure, than what you were doing previously before Sync 60. It seems like most of you are probably at that 60 to 80% range where you're doing a lot more than you used to do. So for whatever reason, that Sync 60 challenge really did sort of help you get that focus and put some structure into your music production process. But it sounds like also a lot of you have now kind of fallen off a little bit, and you're not as productive as you were for those 60 days. And I totally understand that. And that's why I wanted to give this announcement and to let you guys know that I want to do it again. I think most of you guys probably also want to do it again. And it sounds like it's something that we should maybe do fairly consistently in Sync Academy, because there's something to the fact of having a community all participating in this together, which really puts the juice in all of us, that really sort of just puts a little bit more energy into our daily lives when you know that there is a whole community, there's a whole group of people also participating with us, alongside of us, as we put together our own challenges and work towards our goals. Being held accountable, having that sort of Sync 6 progress chart where you get to log in every single week and let us know, did you make it, did you not make it, and holding yourself accountable, and also knowing that other people are seeing your progress obviously gives you a little bit of that motivation to get your weekly goals done. So there's just something about having a community and having structure too. I mean, having a Sync 60 challenge does give structure. I mean, you guys would have to admit that. I think that setting a date to start, right? And that's why we're starting this right now. Sorry, I know my camera's really glitching out. Let me see if I can minimize some of these windows to maybe speed it up a bit here. Hopefully that helps it just a little bit more. We'll see. So anyways, I think that challenge and that structure of having a date to start, and that's why I wanted to talk about it in this video and give you guys some advance notice. You have a date that you're going to start your challenge, and then you're going to have a weekly sort of check-in point to say, all right, did I accomplish what I said I was going to do? And also just having a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks now, to plan what your goal is going to be. And that's what we can definitely do. So the date that we're going to start our next Sync 60 challenge will be July 1st. So we've got now about 2.5 weeks or so until that starts. So you have plenty of time to, first of all, decide what your goal is going to be, if it's achievable and attainable. And if those of you that participated in our Sync 60 challenge before, you guys know that maybe you set too lofty of a goal for yourself. You need to keep something a little bit more realistic for yourself this time. Or maybe last time you set too low of an expectation of yourself and you really blew past it. So now you kind of know how to gauge that. Maybe you can, step up your goal for the 60 days. So you guys can kind of be the arbiters of that, how you want to proceed with it. But it's going to be, and my camera is still very glitchy. Is there anything else open? Oh yeah, I got Logic open, so that could be part of it. Sorry guys, 1 second. Probably should have closed this out before. I don't know if this will help at all. Maybe it will. A couple of people are here already. Michael, good morning. Rob, Carl. All right. So that's what I want to do. I want to start us on July 1st, and that gives us a couple of weeks to kind of put this stuff together. So I know a lot of you guys have probably watched all of the Sync 60 weekly videos, and so those will always be available to you. But what I'll do is, or they're going to be available to you right now. But as we start the next Sync 60 challenge, I am going to sort of mute out the other videos that are not, how do I describe it? We're going to go through it basically 1 week at a time again. So on week 1, the only video that will be available to you guys in the Sync 60 challenge site section of the Sync Academy Challenge will be week 1. Even if you watch those videos, those are really good videos to go back and watch. Usually they're 20-30 minutes long. They're not super long videos. You can put it on 1.5 speed if you just want to get through it quicker. But I think a lot of the stuff that's in those videos, if you sort of skim through it before or maybe even watch them, some of this stuff is good to just kind of tap into again and remind yourself of some really good effective work habits that can help you this time around to do even better than you did last time. Even if you did great last time, maybe you can even exceed your goals that you set for yourself last time. So it'll basically be 1 week at a time. These videos will become released to you. So yes, they are going to be the same videos you guys have. Looks like we are losing our stream here. Now it's back. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you guys can still see me. I still have a green bar here, but for a second it turned red. If you guys can see, give me a little shout out in the chat. That'd be really helpful. Before I continue on here, I just want to make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Uh-oh, not seeing any chats yet. Hope this is going through to you guys. Okay, you can still see, still hear. All right, cool, guys. Thank you for the heads up. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to start our Sync 60 challenge once again. I think this is going to be a great way for those of you that need to crank up an album, you know, so that you can start to submit to a library for the first time, or just basically you need another kick in the butt. We all need that from time to time. I'm no exception to that rule. We all need to be challenged. We all need to have accountability, and we need to have some sort of a community that sort of, it makes it more fun too. I mean, what fun is it really cranking out a whole bunch of tracks when you're completely by yourself, doing it all by yourself? You know, sometimes just being self-motivated and excited by the music that you're producing certainly can carry you for a while, but then there's a limit to that, and it's really awesome to have a community. And obviously you guys now know with the feedback corner in Sync Academy, you guys, as the Sync 60 challenge is going on, if you'd like to get some feedback from your fellow members, you can definitely do that. You can post there. Again, follow the guidelines there. I know that we before didn't have many guidelines kind of set out, and these are just some common sense guidelines. I'll remind you real quick. Number 1, do not directly upload a track to the platform. It can actually slow down the servers, and it can slow down the experience for everybody. So what I do ask everybody to do, just post an external link, right? Dropbox, Google, SoundCloud, your own personal website, YouTube, I don't care what it is, whatever you want to do, but just do not directly upload a WAV file or an MP3 file. I don't control the platform. I am paying for our sort of section hosting for it, but basically the more files that get uploaded to the platform, the slower it's going to be for everybody. So I basically have to unfortunately go and police that. When people do upload, I tell them to delete it and repost with an external link. So most of you guys get that though. Please, you know, keep doing that. It's great. And then please don't spam the feed with tons and tons of tracks. Usually I'm saying, you know, let's keep it to maybe about 1 track a week that you ask for feedback on. And then for every track that you post to get feedback, I say go give feedback to 3 other members, okay? This sort of ratio will ensure that it stays a rich community, and it's not just people that are just always leeching, always just posting, asking for feedback, and never giving. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. It's not going to be something that I, you know, very closely police, but let's just sort of as a community keep each other accountable for that kind of stuff, and make sure you're giving a little bit more than you're taking, and that way you know that the next time you do post a track for feedback, you'll get a lot, right? You'll get a good amount. And how do you get better feedback? Give better feedback, okay? The more detailed, the more useful and helpful and structured the advice and the information or sort of tips that you can give to a fellow member, the better that they're going to feel like they want to repay you, right? To get something, you got to give something first. And so I think most of you guys understand that if you're posting tracks, not getting a lot of feedback, well, maybe you need to sort of build a little bit more of a reputation within the Sync Academy platform, and that there's no shortcut to that. What you have to do is then go around and listen to other people's tracks and give some really helpful and useful feedback for them. Not just say generic things like, this needs work, that needs work, this is not that good. That doesn't help anybody, right? Tell them exactly maybe something that they can do, and specifically some actions that they can take to improve. Just a suggestion, right? Nobody has the monopoly on the best advice for how to improve music, but just your personal take on what you could suggest that could improve their tracks and improve their production or mixing or mastering, whatever it is. So I think you guys get that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that basically kind of wraps into the other guideline, which is, no generic sort of like vague notes. Try to be as specific as you can, and also at the end of your notes, always try to include something that can be done, some action that the composer can take to improve upon their tracks. Okay, not just like leaving it out there in limbo for them to feel kind of like, oh, I guess that person didn't like my track, right? That's not really useful or helpful for people. And I think most of you guys are getting that from all the feedback. Usually, most of the feedback that I'm seeing is structured in this way. So you guys are obviously doing that. So applause to you guys. It's really cool. So that's it, guys. We're starting a new Sync 60 challenge. I just wanted to do this quick little video for you guys, let you guys know it's coming. So what you need to do now until July 1st is plan. Put some real thought into this. What do you really want to get done starting July 1st until, I guess it'll be July, August, September 1st, right? So this is going to be the summer of Sync 60, right? What do you want to have accomplished as we get into the fall? You want to have a full album done. You want to have 2 albums done. You want to just get really good at structuring tracks, crafting better melodies, mixing your tracks better. Whatever you feel like is the biggest thing facing you right now. You don't have to conquer all of your weaknesses. You don't have to conquer all the challenges that are in front of you, but one specific task, one specific goal, one thing that's achievable and doable. That's what we should be doing for the next 60 days. That's how you're going to get closer to that full-time income in this business. Is you have to accomplish and sort of tackle each one of these beasts, these kind of obstacles in front of you, one at a time, right? And not get so overwhelmed by the sort of magnitude of all the different things you're going to have to get really good at. Start with one thing at a time. And maybe you structure your 660 challenge so each week you're conquering one little aspect of your production. Week 1, let's say you want to really focus in on crafting great chord progressions. Week 2, you want to focus on melodies. Then you want to do drums, right? You can be very creative with how you want to do that. But the key with all of this is really about focus and keeping things achievable. Very small and very achievable, okay? We're not going from day 1 to day 60 full-time income. Okay, let's just take that off the table. That's an unrealistic expectation. The industry just does not move that fast for you to feel that confidence in 60 days this is going to be your full-time job. But you can definitely make a big step forward in your career in 60 days. So you got to be the arbiter for yourself. You got to be the judge for yourself. What is it you really need to work on? Most of you guys, I think, watching this, if you really just spend a second and being honest with yourself about what your real weaknesses are, you probably know. I remember when I first got started, I didn't want to admit it, but the biggest thing that I always had a problem was, and I knew because I could just A/B test my tracks compared to other tracks and libraries that I was getting accepted to, it was all about the mix. Sorry, my microphone was buzzing. It was all about the mix that I didn't have. I did not have a professional, loud, well-balanced stereo spread, full spectrum, having those nice, low, clear, not muddy, low-end frequencies, and really crispy, clean, high-end frequencies. I just didn't have a lot of that moving forward. For the big reason for me was actually, and I misdiagnosed the problem. It wasn't actually so much my mixing skills, it was the samples and the sounds that I was using. So I was taking these kind of subpar, out of the box, whatever, just came with a plugin, came with a DAW sort of a thing, and thinking that like, well, it doesn't sound that good now, but I'll mix it and then it'll sound good. It never does. It never works out that well. So what I had to decide is like, okay, I need to start investing and really spending some time getting some better samples to work with. That's why I started using splice.com, and that really sort of helped me get really modern, impactful, awesome sounds, and I could find this stuff very quickly. So if you're not using Splice, definitely check them out. I think it's still like $7.99 a month. Super cheap, super affordable. I think you get 100 downloads every single month for that sort of beginning price or whatever. And then they also have tons of plugins and stuff that you can do a pay per month if you want to. So it's very affordable these days to get the sounds that you need to step up your production if you want to. I would say Splice, though, is more geared towards EDM, pop. I mean, they have orchestral and that kind of thing, but it's not like if you're going to be a cinematic trailer producer, Splice may or probably won't be the best fit for you. You probably have to go to something more like an East-West package. They have a cloud thing now. Native Instruments with all their plugins, right? There's probably other places you want to go. But definitely going into Splice or these sort of like pay per use kind of thing, these monthly subscription services, make it so affordable that you used to have to shell out, thousands of dollars to get all of these sounds onto your hard drives, or what most producers were doing was stealing them through torrent sites. But these days it's so affordable, it's so easy. Splice even has an app that you can download and put it right on your computer right next to your DAW, and I still do that to this day. And I need, let's say, a click sound or some cool claps, or I need a cool vocal thing going on, I go immediately to Splice and I do a quick search and I find it. If they have it, I throw it right in there. I can either download it right away, or if I already downloaded it before, I can just sort of copy and paste it back into the session. So that's the kind of stuff you guys should be doing. But that was my issue, was like I wasn't using the right samples and really good samples, and I thought that just the mixing process would fix all that. And of course, it never did. It never really got me forward. And then when I started fixing the sample process, I was like, wow, even my tracks before I got to the mastering phase, the mixing and mastering phase, sounded so much better. I mean, a million times better than my previous unmixed tracks were. And once you have a track that sounds great and full as is, before you've even applied any mastering plugins to your master chain, it's a joy. Mastering becomes just so much more enjoyable because it's just, you already have something great and all you're doing now is just embellishing it. You're throwing some sprinkles on top of the cake, right? You're putting the bride and groom on top. You're putting some decorations on it. That's all you're doing. And it's so fun to watch it just kind of embellish a little bit more. But at the core of it, it's already a solid foundational track. So anyways, Michael, you had a question. I was hoping you could talk a little about sound design in our tracks and how much is acceptable. Whooshes, explosions. You know, you're basically kind of talking about transitions. I do talk about that in, I think we have a tutorial about transitions in the Sync Academy. I'll double check that. I'm not exactly sure. Transitional effects are certainly welcomed in almost every genre. One thing I would say is explosions, when you have like bombs or gunfire or something that sounds kind of more like a sound effect from a film, as opposed to a sound effect that would be in like an EDM track, like a reverse white noise or a crash or something like that, right? You guys kind of get the difference. Or an 808 drop, something like that. Those are a little bit more musical in nature, and they're not necessarily a Foley sound effect, something that was like recorded in the field. I would usually stay away from the sound effects Foley kind of things, usually just because if the sound, if the client or the library wants to place your track into a TV show, they're already going to have a whole collection of sound effects if they need something like that to really accentuate your track. So you don't need to put that in there, because if you're putting stuff in that's not necessary, like a cash register machine or a baby crying, or, you know, that's just all different types of weird sounds. If you're putting that stuff into your track, it's usually not going to be useful, and then they're not going to want to use your track because it can't be eliminated unless you have, like, I guess, an alt mix that doesn't have that. But for the most part, I would say just stay away from sound effects and Foley and all that kind of stuff, and just stay with sort of musical transitional effects, if that helps explain that. So all right, guys, I'll let you get back to it. Have a very productive day. I know most of you guys probably maybe have to go to your day jobs, but hopefully when you get home tonight, put some real thought into your Sync 60 challenge. Talk to your wife, your kids, your family, your coworkers, your friends, and let them know you're going to do this. It's going to be a serious part of your life, and ask for help. You know, you got to get those people around you that are a part of your intimate personal lives. They got to be on board with this too. They got to support you. Maybe they can help you make some sacrifices, take care of some of the obligations or errands that you usually do. They can help pitch in. Of course, always offer, be a nice person, and always offer to do favors for them as well. That if they can help you, you know, watch the kids for a little bit longer or take care of some of the chores, you'll do something nice for them as well. Okay, it's not just a very selfish thing you're asking for, but it needs to be a give and take. So always offer to help them out as well. It's a really good thing. It's kind of funny. A lot of people, I've gotten some emails where some members, believe it or not, felt that their relationships actually got a lot better as a result of Sync 60, which is not something I was expecting at all. But they said just because it's opened up a more honest conversation and dialogue about their music careers with their, let's say, usually it's with their wives or girlfriends or something like that, they found that it just because having this kind of more open conversation about what you're trying to do as a producer and what your end goal in this industry is and how you're really taking it seriously really helped their wife or girlfriend understand what you're going through and why they now can basically consider themselves on your team to help you make those sacrifices to get you closer to your goal. So that was really kind of like totally unexpected, and I was like, wow, that's really cool to hear that some of you guys' relationships have even gotten a little bit better in terms of that, because I understand the sort of skepticism that we can get from our friends and family about, yeah, you really going for that? Okay, good luck, I wish you the best, but they don't really get it. And maybe they don't really think that you can really do it, just because they don't understand, you know, how realistic and achievable that really can be. Because I think most people think of the music business as like, oh, okay, you want to go get a record deal and get on the radio and become the next, you know, the Beatles or Justin Bieber or something. Yeah, it might not, probably won't happen, right? That's what most people are thinking when you say you want to do music full time. But I think you guys obviously get in Sync Academy, this is a completely different animal, and it's so much more achievable than that. It doesn't have to be that pie in the sky pipe dream sort of approach. So anyways, hope you guys are going to just participate. That's all I ask, that you guys actually participate with this one. So, Michael saying, I love to join on a 60-day challenge, but there's a 3-week vacation in July. Any advice on doing both? I mean, I don't like mixing. I like having clear boundaries. Just my personal opinion on this. If you're going on vacation, just go on vacation. If you're going on a vacation that requires or has some downtime, it sounds like 3 weeks. Maybe you do have, a couple of days of sightseeing and traveling around, and maybe you'll have a 2 or 3 day period where you guys are just relaxing in a hotel or whatever. If you've got that time, then yeah, you can bring your laptop and you can kind of work on some stuff. And if you have a laptop, you can definitely do a lot of stuff. I've definitely done some work and a lot of work on the road and on vacation. But if you're there with your family and you're there to really just get away from it all, just get away from it all, right? You just need to unplug. And if you're investing your money, obviously, and your time to go on vacation, a lot of times it's like just go and enjoy that and come back. I mean, just because you might miss a big chunk of the Sync 60 challenge doesn't mean that you can't do the work when you get back. I mean, you basically just pause your Sync 60 challenge for 3 weeks, come back, and then continue it on. You'll have an extra 3 weeks when you get back. So you guys obviously got to make that choice for yourself. But yeah, I'm more of a fan of your work is your work, vacation is your vacation. Kind of keep those things separated. However, again, 3 weeks, it sounds like you might have some time to just kind of chill. I don't know what you're doing, how jam-packed your vacations are. So, you guys got to make those choices for yourself. So, David from the UK. Hey, man, glad you're gonna jump in with us. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna jump off now. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks when we do our Sync 60 challenge. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. Again, I think the energy was super high last time we completed it, and I loved seeing all the success stories, and I loved chatting. There was at least 3 or 4 of you guys that I chatted with once you finished your Sync 60 challenge, and I like to do that again this time. For those of you that complete it, get to that last week and mark yes on that column. I'd love to do a chat with you guys and find out what was it like for you guys going through this process. It's really cool for me to get to know you guys a little bit better, and to give you guys a little bit of a boost or a motivation to really knock out your Sync 60 challenge. So we'll see you guys soon, and I'll post more details as we get closer to July 1st.